The chime of the bell beckons us into sacred time. Good morning and welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Houston, where we widen love's circle by honoring the inherent worth and dignity of all. However you arrive today, we welcome you, and we extend a heartfelt and inclusive invitation to join us in meaningful worship and in service to the world. Buenos días y bienvenidos a esta comunidad donde ampliamos el círculo del amor, honrando el valor y la dignidad inherentes de todos. We greet all those who join us this morning, and we hope those folks watching the live stream will fill out the online attendance form and refer to the many announcements in the online order of service. We ask those here in person to take a moment after the service and introduce yourself to someone you don't yet know. And finally, today is a very special Sunday because it kicks off our stewardship campaign. We hope that you will all stay for brunch after the service. It will be served in Channing Hall. All are welcome. It's covered by the stewardship team. And kids will have a special kids brunch in the fireside room. Now please join our choir and our musicians for our first song. The lyrics are in your order of service.
Please rise in body and/or in spirit and join me in singing When the Saints Go Marching In.
Oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in, when the rich go out and work, oh, when the rich go out and work, Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in, the air is pure and clean. Oh, when the air is pure and clean, oh Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in, when we all have food to eat, when we all have food to eat, oh Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in, oh, when the leaders unto God, oh, when the leaders look to God, oh Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in, oh Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching
Oh, I want to be in that number. And friends, you are included in the number of us gathered here this morning. Those of us who have gathered to celebrate our community, to engage in spiritual growth, and to bring hope, justice, and an ever-widening circle of love to our world. We are included in that number. Come, let us worship together.
Please join me in reciting our congregational covenant. The words can be found in your order of service. Love is the spirit of our congregation. Service is our prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to encourage one another. Thus do we covenant.
send our young folks off to their religious exploration program with Kinsey. And young folks, as you go, we say to you that we love you and that we are very glad you're here, because you're not just an important part of the future of our congregation, but an important part of our present. We're also going to say goodbye to the choir at this time. So in your order of service, you should find the words to the song As You Go, and I invite you to join with me in singing it now.
As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go. May joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go.
Like those who came before us throughout time, we pray to experience hope and to see justice done. Recently, President Obama told us the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Except it doesn't bend on its own. It bends because we pull it in the direction of justice. What keeps me hopeful during times like these is being surrounded by people who are doing just that. He was referencing the statement by Dr. King, who spoke of the moral universe in a speech in 1968. And of course, Dr. King was paraphrasing abolitionist Unitarian minister Theodore Parker, who wrote the words to our closing hymn today. Parker first alluded to the ark in a sermon in 1853 on the brink of the Civil War. Such sentiments can be traced back to 600 BCE and the Psalms from the Hebrew Bible. I was reminded of this when I read this poem by Ernesto Cardenal, the Nicaraguan Catholic priest, revolutionary, and poet. Written in 1967, he reset Psalm 5 and titled it, "Give Ear to My Words." The translation is by Jonathan Cohen. Excuse me. I share it now as our prayer for hope and justice. Give ear to my words, O Lord. Hear my groans. Listen to my protest, for you are not a God who is a friend of dictators, nor a supporter of their politics, nor are you influenced by their propaganda, nor do you associate with any gangster. There's no honesty in their speeches, nor in their press releases. They talk of peace in their speeches while they increase their war production. They talk of peace at peace conferences and secretly prepare for war. Their lying radios blare all night long. Their desks are piled with criminal plans and sinister documents. But you will protect me from their plans. They speak through the mouth of machine guns, their flashing tongues or bayonets. Punish them, O God, foil their politics. Mix up their memos, block their programs. At the hour of the alarm siren, you will be with me. You will be my refuge on the day of the balm. You bless the righteous who don't believe in the lies of their ads, nor in the publicity and political campaigns. Your love surrounds them like armored tanks. Amen. We pause now together to lift up that which sits heavy and light on our hearts. Iris Sizemore is excited to report her cast was removed and she will soon begin physical therapy. We continue to send our love and healing wishes. Cheryl Rivers, First Unitarian's bookkeeper, had successful knee surgery on Tuesday, and we wish her a quick recovery. Edith Douglas, Cindy Douglas's former daughter-in-law, passed away on Monday, and we send condolences to Cindy and her grandchildren. We hold Carolyn Ross and Peggy Harvey in our hearts and send them healing wishes after recent health concerns. And we continue to hold Pandora Johnson with tender care as she navigates breast cancer treatment. We hear reports of congregants suffering from norovirus as well as flu and colds. So I really urge everyone to take care of yourselves and take extra precautions during this time. Misha Barak is a prayer in the Jewish tradition for the healing of those whose names are called out by congregants. There are similar practices in the African, indigenous, and pagan traditions. We honor these rituals by saying aloud or bringing to mind those who we wish to be held by the loving embrace of this religious community. They are part of the great cloud of witness and memory, and we will, even if we do not know their names, hold them in our hearts. In this great cloud of witness and memory, amid this beloved community, we hear these names and hold them in our hearts. Let us remember the suffering and joy amid and among our community that we do not know. Breathe with me and know that we are all interdependent, that the Spirit of life flows through us all. Breathe with me as we continue to do the holy work of interconnection and relationship, that our work here may be blessed. In the spirit of love, in the spirit of hope, and in the spirit of compassion, I invite each of you to enter into a time of silent prayer, meditation, or reflection.
In the quiet of this place, let this moment fill with grace. This is my prayer. This is my prayer. May the This is my prayer. This is my prayer. Ah, this is my prayer.
Each week, our morning offering is shared with an organization that shares our Unitarian Universalist values. Through our generosity, our work in the world is proliferated and our values are brought to life. This week, we are supporting Advocates for Immigrant Survivors. Advocates for Immigrant Survivors is an organization whose mission is to provide immigration legal services and social services to aid survivors in accessing the rights to justice, dignity, and restoration. They provide trauma-informed immigration legal services to survivors of violent crime, case management, outreach, and education. In 2024, they served 246 survivors from 38 countries of origin in 10 different languages. We welcome Alexia Rowan to the pulpit to speak further about this important organization. Welcome, Alexia.
Good morning. Thank you all so much for having me today. My name is Alexia Rowan. I'm one of the co-founders of Advocates for Immigrant Survivors. I'm also an immigration attorney. We are a nonprofit that provides completely free services here in Houston. And we co-founded this organization I co-founded this organization back in 2019 to address a gap in services. At the time, few organizations in our region provided free immigration legal representation to survivors of crime, and even fewer did so in a trauma-informed and culturally responsive way. And unfortunately, access to services in Houston hasn't really increased since 2019, and for a number of reasons, among those being the funding cuts that we're seeing across the nonprofit space. We have seen reduced staffing and, unfortunately, fewer survivors served. We were created to be a place where survivors were met with respect, compassion, and high-quality legal support. The individuals that we serve have experienced domestic violence, sexual assault, human trafficking, and other serious crimes. And so they're navigating both the criminal justice system as well as the immigration system, as the majority of the folks we serve are undocumented. The majority also do not speak English. And some are still living in abusive situations. And so as part of our services, we do help them with safety planning and trying to get them out of those situations. Our work helps survivors pursue immigration protections that allows them to live in the United States. And about a month ago, we had 2 survivors that became permanent residents. They came, thank you. They came from very different regions of the world. One was from Central America and the other was from East Africa. Neither of them spoke English, but they both shared a desire for a better life for themselves and their children, who are US citizens. And so now with permanent residency, they no longer have to fear deportation, as well as the threats of their abusive ex-spouses. And then my hope is that in 3 years, they'll be able to come back to us and we'll help them apply for their citizenship. So AIS believes that every survivor deserves access to justice, regardless of where they were born or what language they speak. Your support helps make that a reality. And I just want to say that, especially right now, it's a little bit hard to let go of some of these feelings of despair, especially working in the nonprofit immigration space. And so I just want to thank all of you, because this is really a beautiful space that I've been able to see today. And it's just really wonderful that spaces like this are here in Houston. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Alexia. Those in our sanctuary will find the instructions for text giving in the order of service, and those watching the live stream will see the instructions on your screens. Our regular Sunday morning offering collection invites us to weave a tapestry of love and action. We ask you to give generously. An offering will now be gratefully received.
Please join me in the words to dedicate our offering found in your order of service. To the work of this church, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives, and these our offerings.
Our first reading is the poem When Giving Is All We Have by Alberto Alvaro Rios, the Poet Laureate of Arizona. One river gives its journey to the next. We give because someone gave to us. We give because nobody gave to us. We give because giving has changed us. We give because giving could have changed us. We have been better for it. We have been wounded by it. Giving has many faces. It is loud and quiet, big though small, diamond in wood nails. Its story is old, the plot worn, and the pages too, but we read this book anyway, over and again. Giving is first and every time, hand to hand, mine to yours, and yours to mine. You gave me blue, and I gave you yellow. Together, we are simple green. You gave me what you did not have, and I gave you what I had to give. Together, we made something greater from the difference. Here ends the first reading.
The second reading is the poem Once and Future by Desdemona, who's a hip-hop and spoken word artist from Minneapolis. We painted dawn into midnight. Out of cement ceilings, we made skylights. From gravel, we crafted fine and delicate chandeliers, hung them with fishing lines so they appeared to float in midair. We turned copper piping into rings, Venus circling our fingers. The oxidation turned our digits green, our limbs transforming into ferns and orchids. We breathed, and our condensation created clouds. Our tears fed the sea. We prayed to all the living things. We sat in silence with the trees, our feet rooting into the ground to touch the highest energy, the evergreens and us. We breathed in tandem, and inside our lungs sprung a forest of veins mimicking their cousins' limbs. We sprouted to intricate flowers in our minds for the left and right hemispheres, and we hung our thoughts there, believing that the petals would keep them safely tucked away. We recognized ourselves, didn't need mirrors to see our likeness. Even the dirt felt like us, the sand, our bones in a trillion pieces. We walked atop these beaches, sinking in, their legacy holding us. There was silence, and we were not afraid. There was peace, and we were not anxious. There was a world we did not conquer. Here ends the second reading.
Please rise in body and/or spirit and join me in singing hymn 1028 in your teal hymnal, The Fire of Commitment. From the light of days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. And the fire of commitment sets our minds and souls ablaze. When our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and
ready?
Ready? Well, I guess stewardship's better taken on together than alone, so go for it.
When I was considering the right place for my internship, I knew the best experience for me would be one that opened my eyes to the ways of doing church that were different than anything I had ever experienced before. As most of you know, I come from Las Vegas, which operated as a lay-led congregation with a staff of sometimes one part-time administrative assistant. All services were multi-generational, since we had no formal religious education program, which meant that the kids played on a big rug with fluffy pillows and boxes of Legos right next to the chancel, and every so often a Lego would go flying across the sanctuary during a sermon, and it was good. That community made so many things possible for me. As an early seminarian, I had lots of pulpit access, the chance to serve on many committees and practice leadership with folks of all different ages. They all supported me as I fumbled and I learned. We tried many new things together, and that was the congregation that sponsored me for ministry, a critical and required early step in a seminarian's career. When I practice preaching, leading, serving, innovating, and caring in this community, I feel their hand on my back. Now, with the clock of my ministerial internship counting down, I've been reflecting a lot on the learnings of this past year. As you also may know, I moved to Houston originally to be near my family. And a couple months after moving here, I began reaching out to area ministers in the spirit of collegiality. Coming from Las Vegas with no ministerial mentorship to Houston with such a vibrant ministerial community felt like, well, to use some Vegas lingo, hitting the jackpot. As I got to know the ministers in the area, I daydreamed about what this vibrant community and city could make possible for me and my ministry. Before I was your intern, in my very first email to Reverend Colin, I introduced myself and I asked if we could schedule coffee. He replied quickly. He copied Ames to schedule a lunch. He invited me to attend an upcoming ministers' retreat, and he offered me a scholarship so that I could go. It took him probably, 3 minutes?
Probably more like 5.
5 minutes. 5 minutes to type the email. And despite the fact that Reverend Colin in that one simple email folded me into a community that I had longed for, that wasn't my favorite thing about his message. My favorite thing was how he signed off with the word love. I wrote in my cover letter for my internship application, I am a love person looking for a love place to do love work. Through this year, you've each widened the circle of love to include me. And as I move forward in my ministry with your hand on my back, I will know how much you have made possible for me.
We give because somebody gave to us. We give because nobody gave to us. We give because giving has changed us. We give because giving could have changed us. Together with Alberto Alvaro Rios, his words, and Nina's story, we have an introduction to what, in my long-standing dad joke, I refer to as the annual sermon on the amount. This is Stewardship Sunday. It might not seem like it, but it's a sort of high holiday for Unitarian Universalists. It's a day that we commit to make our religious community possible. It's only with your generosity that we're able to make all that we make happen. Sunday worship celebrations, pastoral care, religious exploration, our wonderful music program, justice work, and internship for a seminarian. It's all brought into being when you dig deep And with your financial commitments, say, I'm going to help sustain, as Nina put it, a love place where we can do love work together. Love work. We speak of widening love's circle. This morning we come together to do a little love work. We gather to remind each other that no matter how harshly the wicked winds of war blow, no matter how rough and rocky the road, there is a place that proclaims that each human being is loved and was born a blessing. Love work. In this congregation, we understand that we are each born with the power to bring more love and more blessings into the world. Let's do that a little bit together right now. As a reminder of our power to love and to bless, I invite you to turn to a person near you and say, you are loved, you are a blessing. 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 In this act of coming together to do love work, it is this act of coming together to do love work that makes us a religious community. Each year in my preparation for the Sermon on the Mount, I reflect on the difference between spiritual practice and religious practice. Spiritual practice I think of as breath work, the work of breathing in and out the air that unites all of us. Spiritual from the Latin spiritus, breath, breathing, spirit. It's something that we can do on our own. Breath. Yoga is one of my spiritual practices. Each Monday after work, I ride my bike to the downtown Y for the evening session. Now, I've been attending those classes for a little bit more than a year. I suspect I'm a little stronger, a little bit more lithe as a result. Certainly, at the end of each yoga class, I feel calmer and more connected to the living breath that surrounds all of us. But I don't feel like I've had a religious experience. In all the time that I've been attending, I've had a meaningful encounter with, well, precisely no one. Each Monday we gather, we pull out our yoga mats, we run through our poses, we try to get into the flow, and then, well, that's it. If you're here today for the Sermon on the Mount, then you likely feel that practicing yoga in a time of rising authoritarianism is not enough. Spiritual practice, be it yoga or something else, is something we do on our own. Spiritual practices on their own are not going to provide a counter to Christian nationalism. It doesn't matter how many downward dogs or sun salutations I do. My yoga class is not going to be a place for us to come together and say, from the union of the Crusaders' cross and the country's capital, I dissent. I dissent. Yoga in a time of war is not enough. I dissent. In order to make my dissent meaningful, in order to give it strength or transformative power, I need something more. I need to turn from I dissent to we dissent. We need the religious practice of dissent. Religious, as I've shared in the past, can be understood as that which binds us together. Thought to be derived from the Latin word for to tie or to bind, religious practices are what connect each to all. They are things that unite a community in purpose and in action. They are activities that empower us to bring our vision of widening love's circle into being. Religious practice, another way I've been thinking about it, has come from my interactions with the philosopher John Clarke. You might remember John. He's a friend of the congregation. We read his book, Between Earth and Empire, last year, and he offered us an incredibly well-attended workshop. John is a profound political thinker. He's cultivated a powerful presence, which he's nurtured from his blend of European anarchism, Sufi mysticism, and Zen Buddhism, as well as from his lifelong engagement with community building and celebration in New Orleans. Last year, a lot of my conversations with John were about the importance and power of liberating religious communities. He believes that some religious communities are blessed through beauty-making theology, through joy-giving practice, through good leadership, with the potential to be, in his words, places for liberation and solidarity, as well as awakening and care. Now, John's not a Unitarian Universalist, but he appreciates the potential our tradition has for creating communities of liberation and solidarity, awakening and care. In one conversation, he shared with me the deep grief he felt over the decision of the First Unitarian Universalist Church of New Orleans to close their building. First, New Orleans had once been a thriving congregation. Dr. M. Tangalizi Sinyaka, another friend of our congregation, was introduced to Unitarian Universalism there. The community played an important role in the struggle for civil rights in the 1960s, surviving fire bombings of both the church and of the minister's house. But it was devastated in Hurricane Katrina. It lost more than half of its membership. A lot of the remaining members questioned their commitments to the church for one reason or another. And so, saddled with a building that its much reduced congregation could no longer support, the members voted to sell their campus and become a church without walls. John told me that when the congregation voted to sell their campus, he suddenly became aware of everything that First Unitarian Universalists provided to New Orleans. He'd never been a member, but he and his family had been in and out of the church building for 3 decades. He likened the building to a tree, an entity sustaining a vast ecosystem of loving activism and spiritual work in its branches. With the tree gone, all of the squirrels and chipmunks, birds and beetles, mushrooms and moss, all that religion that had been sheltered in its branches was rendered homeless. He wished that the wider community had recognized that it should not fall only on the members to support the congregation. The congregation supported so many people outside of its own slender membership. It made so many things possible. And now all of that is gone.
If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I can show somebody they are traveling wrong, then my living shall not in vain. If I can do my duty as I know I ought, if I can bring back beauty to a world abroad, if I can spread love's message as I have been taught, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in
The first time that I remember stepping into a Unitarian Universalist space, I was in college and attending a Planned Parenthood panel. In the face of yet another round of federal defunding, they were speaking to the comprehensive nature of their services and how they fill a critical gap for many under and uninsured folks. The panel itself was fine, but I paid more attention to the flags that were hanging on the walls of the space that we were in, and they read things like, "We respect the inherent worth and dignity of all beings, and we practice justice, equity, and compassion in our relationships." After the panel, I approached the organizer and I said, "Thank you, that was a fine panel, but where are we?" We were at the Conejo Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. On my way home, I called my mom and I said, "Hey, have you ever heard of Unitarian Universalism?" And she said, "Honey, you were dedicated, you. And I always knew you'd find your way back." Mom never misses an "I told you so" moment. Funny enough, I recently attended Houston's Planned Parenthood fundraising luncheon, and I was talking to a First UU member at our table about her path to Unitarian Universalism. She shared that it was also her connection to Planned Parenthood that paved her path to our shared faith. She served as a protective escort at a clinic in Rochester, walking back and forth, sheltering those there for health care from the vitriol of protesters and ensuring that they made it to the front door of the clinic safely. She shared that a fellow escort with whom she had worked and walked back and forth to those clinic doors for years, finally, after learning more about who she was and how she viewed the world, said, "Hey, you should really check out my UU church." Like Dr. Batiste just sang about, it is the way that we help and love the world that ensure that we don't spend our lives in vain. The work of helping and building and loving, that is the work that connects us all. The conversation that we had just a couple weeks ago at that Planned Parenthood lunch, it drew a line of similarity. Both me and the person I was talking to, we had our passions for equal rights and bodily autonomy, and that led us to encountering Unitarian Universalism. We weren't at that moment necessarily looking for religion, but it found us, and it changed our lives. It is our use of a space that makes it sacred. To be the squirrels and the chipmunks, the birds and the beetles, the mushrooms and the moss that both protect and support the tree that gives us so much shelter and so much life. In January, the board and staff here hosted the annual Leadership Forum, which attracted over 60 of our members and friends for a day of learning and nourishing our shared leadership. And it's important to pause for planning, so we know where we're going. Maybe you've heard me talk about the vast horizon before, that place toward which we move and work where all beings have peace and love. My leadership mentor, Tyson Casey, says, while we must always have that horizon in mind, we mustn't neglect the steps directly in front of us. The next few steps are always just as important as the horizon toward which we're walking. And the way we make those steps influence the path we move along. The knowing and the being of that horizon that we see in the future, in each step we make, it becomes clearer as we walk forward together, always returning to what is, and at the same time becoming what we can be. So I wonder, what could we be? When you think about the future of this community, what do you hope is true? What do you feel is possible? During the Leadership Forum, I was a part of the Outreach Breakout Group, and I heard so many brilliant ideas, all about how we can talk to each other and those in the wider community about who we are and what it really means when we say that we're here to widen love's circle. The strategic plan and the outreach goals of our community, they are unidirectional. They look into the future. They focus on growth. They imagine what could be possible. Now, I think of stewardship campaigns the same way that I think about presidential elections. Instead of imagining the act of voting for one person as an answer to all of our troubles, I ask myself, which of these candidates will lead and speak for a country that I can organize and work in? Instead of thinking of stewardship campaigns as a time when money talk dirties our customary talk of justice and peace and love and that vast horizon, perhaps we can think about how financial generosity creates conditions and spaces that we can organize and work together in. When we were talking about our similar Planned Parenthood to Unitarian Universalism experiences, your board vice president and I noted that it took both of us a good long while to develop the depth of engagement and commitment to our community that we have now. We both likened our experience to planting a seed that took many years to sprout the roots and the flowers that our Unitarian Universalism has today. You never know what seeds that are planted will grow to become. We never know what will be possible when we plant a seed of love, of hope, of justice, or of action deep in someone's heart. But what we can know for sure is that this garden of beloved community that we exist in today and we tend together, this place is the fruit and the flower of seeds planted years and even generations ago. So, Rev, do you want to tell them how much money we need?
I get the hard job, huh? $750,000 is this year's pledge goal. It's the same as last year's goal We didn't quite meet the target last year, and as a result, our congregational finances have been in a bit of a pinch. We've had to leave our communications coordinator position open and reduce some of what we offer. Meeting the $750,000 goal will empower the congregation to do so much more in the world. It will put us in solid financial shape as we search for a new assistant minister to replace Reverend Scott as he retires. It will position us to live out dissent as a religious practice, even as we ground ourselves in spiritual practice. Dissent as a religious practice, I'm going to say more about that in a moment. But first, let me tell you what the stewardship team is asking of the congregation this year in our campaign, Living Our Mission. They're encouraging a 10% increase in your pledge and hoping for 15 new households to pledge to support First Unitarian Universalist. A 10% increase. Now, of course, if you can do more, it would make an even greater difference. Because right now, with rising inflation, with a vicious, illegal war of choice, some members of our congregation are struggling to make ends meet, and they can't do a 10% increase. So I suspect that somewhere out there in the congregation is a couple of folks who could double or triple last year's pledges to help support those folks who can't make a 10% or even honor last year's pledge to its fullest extent. I also hope that a few of you who are not yet members will feel stirred to pledge by John Clark's grief and story of the closure of First Unitarian Universalist in New Orleans, so that you might recognize the importance of pledging to sustain that tree in which we are all hosted. It takes generosity for all of us to build up a love place in which to do love work. Now, I'm not going to channel my inner Marvin Sapp and close the door of the sanctuary until everyone turns in pledge cards or increases your pledge commitments. Instead, I'm going to remind you that by making a pledge, you're saying to the members of the congregation and the wider Houston community, you are loved, you are a blessing. You want to try it with your neighbor again? You are loved, you are a blessing. You are loved, you are a blessing. Today is the day as a religious community. We declare that what binds us together is the knowledge that we all have the possibility to love and bless. At making our pledges, we proclaim that everyone has the power to love and bless. And we say no to those who would limit love and blessing to a few. We declare that love and blessing are universal. In doing so, we collectively dissent from those who would inscribe their reactionary theologies into the legal codes of Texas and attempt to carry them into the halls of Congress. We tell each other we have the power to dissent from those who would use ancient sacred texts written for other communities and for other times to object to modern medical procedures, to limit women's rights, attack the LGBTQI community, and justify illegal wars. We remind each other we have the power to love, bless, and dissent because we commit each year, each Stewardship Sunday, to contribute something significant to sustain the life of First Unitarian Universalist. Now, the name again of this year's stewardship campaign is Living Our Mission. We say that our vision is to widen love's circle, widening the circle of love, bringing our shared dream of building the beloved community, both within our beautiful brick walls and without, into being, has committed us to creating a growing, multicultural, multi-generational, and multiracial congregation in the city's diverse urban center. Building such a community is something that we can only do together. It is a religious practice Together we can maintain a place to gather and name for each other the deepest truths of our lives. Together we create a community where we say that these truths shall not be held as private. They must be spoken in public. Together we can learn from, embrace, nurture each other. Together we can learn and live into the words of our covenant and encourage one another. Encourage one another. I offer the sermon on the amount because it is your financial commitments that make so much possible. They make it possible for people like Nina and our board vice president to have life-changing experiences when they enter our sanctuary or enter our campus. They make it possible for our congregation to bring beauty and justice into the world. They make it possible. Well, part of the point is you get to complete the sentence. Today, please consider making your pledge, increasing your pledge by 10% or more if you can do it. This will allow us to make our goal of $750,000. It will enable us to bring our vision of widening Love's Circle into being by living our mission. It is one way we say to each other, you are loved, you are a blessing. You are loved, you are a blessing. That it might be so, I invite the congregation to say, Amen.
Please rise in body and/or spirit and join me in singing hymn 1058 in your teal hymnal, Be Ours a Religion.
Because of religion, which like sunshine goes everywhere, its temple, all space, its shrine, the good heart, its creed, all truth, its ritual works of love. Because of religion, which like sunshine goes everywhere, its temple, all space, its shrine, the good heart, its creed, all truth, its ritual works of love.
Reciting the words to extinguish the chalice, which can be found in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
You are loved, you are a blessing. We each have the possibility to announce such truths to the world. We each have the possibility to bring them into being. Through stewardship, through our financial commitments, we make much possible. You are loved, you are a blessing. Let the congregation say, Amen.